Hey guys, so this video is on the classes of Bless Online. There are currently 5 classes in Bless, and the game uses the Holy Trinity, which means we have DPS, healers, and tanks. The current makeup of the classes in Bless are 1 tank, 1 healer, 1 melee DPS, and 2 ranged DPS. So let's dive right in. The Guardian is Bless's tank. A fairly mobile class, the Guardian has a large number of damage reduction abilities and taunts, which make him a very powerful main tank. The Paladin is the healer of Bless. He is also a melee combatant who uses divine magic to heal and inspire his allies and smite his enemies. In combat, he uses monastic martial arts with a mace and shield to fight and dispose of those who would oppose the laws of Physis. The Paladin is a follower and devotee of Physis, protecting the law of Physis throughout the continent. Next up we have the Berserker. The Berserker is the melee DPS, and he can also be an off-tank. He uses a two-handed axe to deal very powerful AoE damage from the front line, and can also parry and shrug off attacks thanks to his heavy armor. It's a very powerful class, especially paired with other classes such as the Guardian to take the aggro away, or the Paladin to keep up the Berserker's health. Then there's the 2 ranged classes. The Ranger is a fairly agile class who darts around the combat area, sniping at enemies with powerful bow attacks. The Ranger focuses more on single target damage and is excellent at kiting, but his AoE is quite a bit lower than the Berserker or the Mage. The Mage is the other ranged DPS. As a spellcaster, the Mage is fairly squishy, but makes up for it with huge AoE damage from the safety of the back line. The Mage focuses much more on AoE damage than the Ranger, and is better at farming huge groups of monsters or Zergs than killing single-target bosses. As a natural scholar, mages explore the laws of the world and use these laws to bring devastation to their foes. So those are the 5 classes. For people that want to kind of know exactly which class you should play, there's a few different questions you should ask. If you want to play as a group, Paladins and Guardians are always in demand. Tanks and healers, you can never get enough of them in pretty much any MMO. It's going to be the same in Bless. Paladins and Guardians are going to be in demand everywhere. If you play one and you are at all decent, you'll probably be very popular. If you want to play with a friend, a Guardian and Berserker combo or the Paladin Berserker combo, are both extremely good ways to clear content. The Guardian is very tanky with all his damage reduction, and can draw the aggro using his taunts away from the Berserker, who naturally draws huge amounts of aggro thanks to the huge amount of damage that Berserker does. The Paladin, on the other hand, allows Berserker to both off-tank and do massive DPS, while healing him and kind of helping him to the side as a sub-DPS. If you want to play solo, Ranger and Mage are really good if you want DPS, whereas Guardian is probably the most survivable solo class in the game. Paladin can certainly heal himself, but Guardian is so tanky and does a fair amount of damage while being fairly mobile that he can move around and fight on his own fairly easily. For Ranger and Mage, they both do very good damage, a little less than Berserker, but they do it much more safely as they can kite around. The Mage has a lot of utility abilities that can sort of slow enemies or get him out of the fight, and the Ranger has a lot of abilities to trap enemies or prevent them from reaching him as the Ranger kites around using his bow. So, lots of little interesting decisions to go into the class, but for your first character, I'm always going to recommend choosing the class that you like the most. There's no point playing a character in a game if you're not having fun. It's a game, you're meant to have fun. So if you think that Berserker is an amazing looking class, you love the two-handed barbarian type fantasy, but you don't think it's going to be that viable, go ahead and play Berserker. From what we know, at least before the combat update, all 5 classes were perfectly viable at endgame. Guardians and Paladins had a bit of a problem getting honor points in PvP, but were still very powerful on the battlefield. You definitely want them with you. And all 5 classes can do content just fine on their own or as part of a group. So those are the 5 classes of Bless. As for which one you should pick, I'm going to leave that up to you. Me, I'm probably going to play Ranger or Mage. Comment below what class you're going to play. I'm interested to see what the distribution of classes looks like, kind of both on the channel and in the broader sense. I know a lot of players are probably going to pick Ranger and Mage, but I've also seen a lot of players super interested in the Guardian's more mobile playstyle for a tank compared to other games, as well as the Berserker's simply Berserk Rage. Plus, there's no denying that the Paladin is actually a pretty cool healer. It's kind of a neat departure from most games where the first healer is traditionally a cloth-wearing priest, or usually some sort of backline shaman healing from afar. Whereas in Bless, the Paladin does heal from afar, but is also much more of a melee combatant and can fight on the front line in his own right. Anyways, I hope this video helped you guys kind of decide which class is right for you and what the classes of Bless Online are like. Comment below which class you're going to play, subscribe if you liked the video if it helped you out, and have a good one.